Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious about what this is or you've got a bit lost. Welcome, everyone. I'm Chatty, this is my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, and I'm going to be chatting away madly about some books that I have hauled into my house. This is my spring book haul. I'm going to be going through books I've earned from under my bed, books I've acquired through other means, and books I've received in the Shelterbox book box subscription, and library books, and one book that I have borrowed. So get yourself a nice drink. I have quite a few piles to be going through here. This is everything that I have accumulated over February, March and April. Don't know why that was so difficult for me to say, but there we go. The brain is working very slowly. This is a long video. I am not editing this video. It is one continuous shot. So here is my little gimmick. Clink, 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 clink. Okay, I am going to start off by talking through what I have acquired in January. And I have a little notebook here because it helps me organise stuff. So the first book I'm going to talk to you about was the book that came through in the Shelterbox book club. So it's a 6-week, every 6 weeks you receive a book, and it is also part of the charity Shelter, where the money goes towards the work they do there. You do get a little bit of paper explaining a little bit about the book and the project that they are working on. So this one is Black Butterfly by Priscilla Morris. I do recall this being on the Women's Prize shortlist, and it was 2023. The cover is absolutely gorgeous. We have what looks like really colourful flames and explosions in oranges, yellows, pinks, blacks, purples, blues and greens, and it is very, very pretty. I'll read you a little bit of the synopsis because I cannot quite remember what this is about at all. I know some people really enjoyed it. Some people it was kind of middle of the bunch. So I'm not sure which way it's going to land for me. Sarajevo, spring 1992. Each night, nationalist gangs erect barricades, splitting the diverse city into ethnic enclaves. Each morning, the residents, whether Muslim, Croat or Serb, push the makeshift barriers aside. When violence finally spills over, Zora, an artist and teacher, sends her family to the safety in England while she remains. As the city falls under siege, Zora and her friends are forced to rebuild themselves over and over. This is a breathtaking story of disintegration, resilience and hope. So this does sound like it will be quite an emotional read, possibly quite a harrowing read. So I definitely think I am going to need to be in the right headspace for reading this one. I did consider picking this up kind of when it came in because I thought it'd be really fun to kind of get involved in the book discussion and stuff, but it kind of just wasn't the right time. But it's definitely one of the Shelter book boxes that I'm interested in, and I think especially because it's one that I'm quite aware of because of the Women's Prize. Thanks to the Plodalong, and also I really enjoy watching Nicole from Dusty Books Book Sniffers vlogs. So I have enjoyed all the chat around this one. So that is that one. Where am I going to put? I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to start piling these up once I move them. We'll work around it. And the next was a book I earned. So if you're not aware, when I acquire books, I hide them under my bed, and then I try and encourage myself to be healthy and earn them. This has shifted quite a lot. I'm definitely focusing on the emotional healthy side rather than the physically healthy side at the moment. That has definitely gone down the pan in April massively. In January it was quite good actually. I kind of got into things a little bit more in January. So anyway, I first earned Onyeka. This is Onyeka and the Heroes of Dawn, which is book 3, and this is by Tolo Okoguru. This is the final book, I do believe, in the Onyeka trilogy, which is a sci fantasy. I'd say it's African futurism, and it's set in Nigeria, and it is about a bunch of children who have they are Solari. They have certain superpowers that manifest, and they go to this school to kind of like help them grow in a sort of a way that they can kind of control them. And I love the found family in here. Onyeka has a particular backstory that we start off with and kind of follow through the whole books. and there are certain kind of like politickings going on within this world as well, and it's a really fun read. The next book I earned is The Bone Shard War, which is also a book 3 and the final book in the trilogy, but this is an adult fantasy by Andrea Stewart, and I really have no idea what this one is about. I know the magic is to do with bones, and it is a collection of islands, so I think that's called an archipelago, and I don't know any more than that, but I have heard so many fantasy readers really enjoying The Bone Shard Daughter. Yes, Bone Shard Daughter is the first one. I haven't started it. I felt I would really enjoy this series of books, and I've collected them, so I have all of them in hardback. So this is a really lovely purple cover. I do love purple. So I'm really looking forward to getting into that series, but I don't want to start it yet because I want to finish off a few series first before I then kind of dive into this one. But I do feel it's a series that I'm really going to enjoy. The next was a book I acquired for a book project, so I didn't earn it. I just needed it for the first Can I Read Romance section. So featuring in episodes 2 and 3 of Can I Read Romance, I have A Taste of Golden Iron by Alexandra Rowland. If you want to know how I found this book, I will leave a little link to episode 2 here so you can go and see my thoughts on it in more detail. So I picked this up just because I couldn't access it from the library, which was my original plan. I really wanted to start reading it in February, reading all the books together. So it wasn't going to be available. There were quite a few people that had booked it out, which is great for the book. So I ended up buying myself a copy. I got this from World of Books at a very reasonable price. It's a very nice copy. It's paperback. It's in very good condition. We've got blue florally bits around the outside with some gold detailing. But my favourite cover is the UK hardback, where it kind of looks a bit like a tapestry, and you have like a kind of symbolic illustrated version of the two characters kind of at the top. And I really love that. And at some point, I will be treating myself to a hard copy of this book because I absolutely adore it. Hardcover copy of the book. The next book I earned was another middle grade, and this is The Last Hope School for Magical Delinquents by Nikki Palprato. This is the first book in the Last Hope School series, and this is one of the books that was voted into the top 5 of the Middle Grade Readers' Choice Awards. So this was one of the most hyped books from the people who were involved in that project in 2024. So myself and a few other people wanted to read the top 5. So this was one of the new books that I ordered in. So it's not technically being read off my physical TBR when I made the physical TBR list and count up back in, when was it? Could have been October, could have been September. Anyway, I'll leave a link to that video there if you're interested in seeing my physical TBR. I do that once a year, and I do find it quite entertaining to count out exactly how many books I have. So this didn't come from this. This came in afterwards. But I did earn it. I do love the cover art. It's the annoying thing about these books. So these are American. I've got another one as well. The American hardbacks have very shiny covers, and I appreciate that the glossy sheen. But when you're doing videos, like you can see the reflection of me. Look, there I am. You can see the reflection of me on the camera in this. I can't really show you a decent picture of the cover because we've got all these glistening lights. I'm doing my best. It's kind of there. So we have a central figure. This is our protagonist, whose name I've totally forgotten because it's a short version, Vin. So we have Vin in the middle, and she has been kicked out of several schools, and the Last Hope School is the Last Hope. It's called the Last Hope for a reason. It's the last school she can physically attend to try and learn magic and control her magic, because her magic is out of hand and she keeps being expelled from lots of different schools. But there is something different about this school. There is something different about the pupils in this school, and we have gorgeous fan family and all sorts of other wonderful things going on in this book. And I need to remind myself, this is not a wrap-up. This is a chat. So I'm not going to go too much into the story. But I really enjoy, we have all the different characters around the edge and some more on the back. Two children sort of like having a fight, one with electricity and one with kind of like a sort of cloud puff kind of situation going on there. We have other characters on the end. Yep, on the end pages here. And then under the dust jacket, we have this very nice blue. We have this very nice blue. It's a pale blue. It's like an eggshell blue. We don't have anything on the end pages or anything like that, but it's a nice cover. It's a nice hardback. I'm very happy to have that book. This one I was in the physical count. So this is another middle grade, and this one is another one that I earned, and this is by Nazneen Ahmed Pathak, and this is The City of Stolen Magic. So this was hasn't been under my bed long. This was a recent, I did a little bit of a middle grade binge, I think last summer, and there were 4 books, and I decided I just really want them, and I spent my Waterstone points on them, and this was one of them, and this just sounds really fun. It's a historical fantasy set in 1855 in India, and I think it is exploring colonialism. We have a link between India and we have a link between London, and people are going missing, people are being kidnapped, and our protagonist, Champa, is going to explore what is happening. I know Emily from Novel Novels has read this book and really, really enjoyed it. So I am excited to have this middle grade on my shelves when I am in that moment for a delightful, fun middle grade. And the final book I have for January, like I said, I did do pretty well in January, is The Black God's Drums by P. Shelley Clark. This is a YA sci-fi novella. And I'm not going to read the back because I don't want to know anything about it. Because I don't need to know anything about it. Because I have loved, it's going to be a slightly different read, but I have loved all of P. Shelley Clark's Master of Jinn, the Jinn in Cairo, the Dead Jinn World series. So I've read the 2 novellas and I've read Master of Jinn, the novel, and really enjoyed them. I haven't read Ring Shout, but I am not a horror person, so I feel I will read. I'm going to read that at some point because I know it's a really good book and I like P. Shelley Clark, but I'm not ready for it yet. But this one I have only heard Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe talking about. She really, really enjoyed it. I think she's used it in a few videos for sort of like encouraging people to read books by Black authors and encouraging people to read Afrofuturism. I think she's kind of pulled it up a few times there. So this has been under my bed for a long time because when Olivia tends to mention a book, I tend to put it on my wish list. And this is one of the ones that I did have and obviously actually bought. But now it is out on my shelves and it is ready for me to read when I am giving it that moment to read it. I don't want to rush into it. I am excited and I want to read it at the perfect reading moment. Okay, I'm going to move on to February's books now. No, March. Starting this off well. That was February, not January. Just spoken about the February books. Oh dear. Okay. This is March. So I have the Shelterbox book for March. So this was in the middle of March because, like I said, it's a 6-week thing. So this is called A Mouthful of Salt. I do tend to find salt is a top word in quite a lot of the Shelterbox book titles. I'd say if I was going to guess a word that most of the books have in them, I would say salt. And this is by Reem Ghaffar. And I'm going to read the synopsis because I really don't know anything about this one. I've never heard of this one. I've never seen this one. On the cover, it's giving me kind of like agricultural kind of land vibes. I don't know if it's also a mixture because of the word salt in it. But we have got, from a diagonal corner, sort of swooping around, looking a little bit like a river, we have got this dark grey. We've got these white lines across it, looking kind of like the earth. And it says, vivid and skillfully drawn, an intricate jewel of a novel. And that is a quote from the New Internationalist. So to me, this makes me think it could be a riverbed, or it could be kind of the edge of a coastline. But then we have the rest of the book is yellow with these white lines sticking up, and it makes me think of like wheat in a field or some sort of crop, which is why I'm thinking more river than coastline. But I could be wrong. And the synopsis says, the Nile brought them life, but also took it away. A small farming village in North Sudan wakes up one morning to the news that a little boy has drowned. Soon after, the animals die of a mysterious illness and the date gardens catch fire and burn to the ground. Whispers ripple through the village, sharing a secret that has been buried for a generation. 16-year-old Fatima is impatient. Will the search for the little boy's body unearth the past her village is trying so hard to bury? In Khartoum, a single mother makes her way in a world that wants to keep women back. As civil war swells, her position in the capital becomes untenable. She must return to face both the villagers and the river that have given and taken so much away from her. A Mouthful of Salt uncovers a country on the brink of seismic, I do apologise, I do not know what that word is, I clearly need to look it up. Seismic change as its women decide for themselves which traditions are fit for purpose and which prophecies it's time to rewrite. So it sounds like very much like a feminist novel. We have got, sort of mysteries of the past kind of coming to the forefront. It does sound really intriguing. I am interested in reading this one. So again, that'll be fun when I'm in the right sort of mood for that type of book. Okay, back onto books I've earned. So there's only a couple in March. March was obviously a bit tricky. I did let things kind of go to pot a little bit in March. So the first book I have to talk about, again, it's another one that I've had under my bed for a really, really long time. So it felt like it's time for it to come out. And this is Citizen, an American lyric by Claudia Rankine. So this is another Olivia book. This is another book that I saw Olivia talking about, and I thought it sounded really interesting. I thought it sounded like a really important, powerful book that I wanted to pick up and read. So it's a form of poetry. I think it's a form of kind of like collective writings. It's not like a fictional novel as such. So I'm very intrigued to find out exactly what form it kind of uses to tell what it needs to say. And I'll just give a little synopsis again. I'm reading the back of the book. So it's an award-winning book for sort of poetry collections and sort of collections of writing. And it doesn't give you a rough update. It does. Nope, it's not really. Okay, I'm going to give some descriptions of what other people have said to give you an idea about this one. So this is from Kate Kellaway from The Observer Poetry Book of the Month. There is much anger and anguish here that you wonder how it can be contained. But what is wonderful about Rankine's writing is that it works like an out-of-body experience. She encounters her subject full-on and rises above it. And then Sean O'Brien from The Independent says, Citizen is about the desolation created by an internationalized racist assumptions. The careless word, the telling error, the failure to see clearly or to admit to what is the case. It's also about the violent continuity between the lynchings of the past and the current readiness of the police to kill black men. Rankine draws on both her own and others' experience to show prejudice working all the way up the economic ladder. So there you go. That gives you kind of more of a gist of what the book is about. So it's, again, really powerful. One of those books that needs to be read at the right moment in the right time. Change of vibe now. We're going back to the middle grade. Middle grade and other books is very much what I'm currently reading at the moment. This is another book series, another fantasy series, and it is the final book in the Pages & Co series. This is The Last Book Wanderer by Anna James. I absolutely love the covers of these books. I think it's gorgeous how we have this swirl of paper, like someone's burnt a big hole into the middle of this book, and then we have characters spilling out of it, which is definitely what happens in Pages & Co. It's about book wandering. It's about going into books, coming out of books, and all of that joy kind of around reading and kind of your favourite stories and things coming to life. For this one, we have all the children in medieval clothing. We have Tilly in the centre, and we have her friends around her. We have some Greek pillars with flowers on the top. We have a snake curled around one. We've obviously got the usual book, papers and things flying around. Then on the back, it says, the best endings are full of beginnings. I always like the scroll work we get on the back with a little quote in it. And here we have who I want to call Charon, but I know, and my 10-year-old constantly corrects me, is Charon, who is the Greek mythology sort of figure that rows you to the underworld in the boat. And here we have a wizard character with a white beard and a staff. So lots of different kind of like big on the mythology within this one. And what I love about these books is under the dust jacket we get this beautiful pictures printed onto the naked hardback. So here we have got flowers, a mouse, a wooden sword, a potions bottle, some more potions bottles, some apples, and it says follow the thread, myths, once upon a time. And then on the back we've got more books. That's a bobbin or a spindle, some leaves, some thread, and it says book wandering. Stories help us decide who we want to be. Pure imagination. And as always in these books now, we get at the final, in the end pages at the back, we get this phrase, don't get stuck in the end pages, which I love. And these ones are orange and the cover is purple. And the final book that I got in February, not February, March, because I'm constantly getting it wrong, in March, is very rare. I just bought it. I bought it for me and they gave it to me all at the same time. It didn't go under my bed. I just decided I deserve this as a treat. And so I gave it to myself. And I got a gift card. So I didn't really give it to myself. This was a Christmas present. My lovely mum Natter gave me a Waterstones gift card and I spent some of it on this book, which is The River of Silver by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the collection of short stories that comes after the David Bad trilogy, and I basically finished reading the David Bad trilogy and went, I need The River of Silver in my hands right now. And what's more, if I can get hold of a hardback copy, I'm getting that one. And thankfully Waterstones online do have the hardback. So again, we have the archway, and this has got blue behind it and silver swirls. And it is gorgeous and it is wonderful. And yes, I do not regret that choice at all. That was a wonderful decision that I made. And I'm now going to have some tea because I'm getting croaky because I've been talking for 20 minutes, of course. And the tea is lukewarm, but you know what? It's drinkable. And I need the liquid. I can't bother to move and warm up, and we're just going to crack on and keep going. I'm just going to move my legs because they're getting all stiff and ouchy. Okay, April. We are now in April, and I also went 2 books in April. So February I was on a roll with being healthy and getting lots of books, and then it kind of all went to pot. Mainly because life took over. I had to start doing lifey things, and my health kind of went to the bottom of the pile. Being healthy went to the bottom of the pile. But I made sure mental health was the important thing to keep track on, and that's where I gave myself points. So the first book I earned, it's another one that I made sure I earned for buddy reading. It is another middle grade book. As you can see again, if you can see, we have the glossy cover. This is another book that I ordered in because you can't get hold of it in the UK. This is The Girl Who Kept the Castle by Ryan Growden. It is another fantasy middle grade, and this was the winning book for the Middle Grade Readers' Choice Awards. And I love the cover, and you can't see it very well because the cover is so shiny. But the picture on the cover, we have our protagonist. We have Faye. In her maid's outfit, she has got a mop, she has got pink cat ears and a pink cat tail, and the apron of her outfit morphs into the castle, and the castle is where most of the story is set place. We are looking for a new wizard's apprentice because the old wizard is dead. He didn't realise immediately, and we're looking for a new wizard. He's got to take on an apprentice. He should have done it before he died, but whoopsies, because otherwise the entire magic crumbles away. It's all about the balance, the magical balance. Here we have a mysterious stranger and a dark shadow approaching the castle, and I just think all of this is wonderful. Beautiful, beautiful book. Again, nothing on the end pages, but we have a beautiful purple hardback for this one. Fabsies. And the next book I earned was another one that I was wanting to read within April, so I definitely needed to earn it. And that is What's the Tea by Juno Dawson. Now, this book is lively and leaping out of my hands. This book, I can't remember when I got it. It has definitely, I've definitely had it for a while. It's definitely one of those that I had. Oh, no, this book was one of the ones where when I first did the Read What You Own challenge, and then I massively broke it because there was a sale on for half price books or double points or something at Waterstones, and I had a bit of a binge, and this was one of the books that I did that with. Anyway, it had a little outing because it went with me to Yalk, which I still have footage to make a video, which I still haven't done yet. Shelley, who I went to Yalk with, who met Juno Dawson with me, that video will be happening. I still have the stuff. I just need to actually sit down and edit it. It's just very, very, very out of date, but it will be happening. And it says, "Too chatty, love, Juno Dawson." And that makes me very happy. So, yes, earned this one to read in April. It's paperback. It's a non-fiction book about the tea being the tea in LGBT, the tea being the gossip, the truth, the buzz. I sound really old, but it's what it's like to be trans. So it's talking about, maybe if I give you Juno Dawson's words, that would make more sense. So it's part 1 is all about identity. Part 2, trans life. Part 3, help and advice, and it has things like you and the law, beyond the binary, the trans life, coming out, all that type of thing. So it's kind of a good rate starting point for anyone who is questioning their gender and how you feel about it, and letting you know that you're not alone. There's lots of other people out there. You're completely normal. It is absolutely fine. There are answers, and there are people who can go through this with you and support you. Also, for the majority of people who are cis, it lets you know what it's like to be trans. And definitely in this day and age, actually listening to people and maybe just recognizing that your way of life is not the same way of life for everyone, and that's okay, and just give people space to be who they are is definitely not a bad thing. So I was very excited to read this one. Final books for April, and the final ones that are mine. I'm then going to be going into the library and borrowed books section. These ones I ordered at the end of last year, and they came in an Illumicrate box. And again, these were a treat for myself, and I allowed myself to have them around Easter time. So I'd been sort of doing things that were good for my mental health, but I hadn't given myself any books, and I felt giving myself these on Easter Sunday was a good plan because I was highly anticipating them. So I originally borrowed Iron Widow at the library, and I now have a hardback copy, and it's the Illumicrate edition that they recently released with the second book, Heavenly Tyrant. Maybe if things were different, I could get used to this. Being cradled in his warmth and light, being cherished, being loved. But I have no faith in love. Love cannot save me. I choose vengeance. This is by Zirin J. Zhao. This is a sci-fi. It's a YA sci-fi. It packs a massive punch. It's very feminist. It's fantastic. It's very hard-hitting. And it's not going to be the way everyone would do things. But it takes a very hard line with things because that's the character. And it's really interesting to explore that amongst other things. I'm really looking forward to rereading this when the stars align for me. The cover, so many people say how striking and gorgeous the cover is, and it continues to be so. Just look at the artwork. I'm desperately looking for who did the artwork. Where is their accreditation? Outer jacket artwork, Ashley Mackenzie. Designed by Mizo Gio Manning. So absolutely fantastic work, Ashley Mackenzie. Great design, Gio Manning. We have this really strong figure of, I've totally forgotten her name, Zetian. So we have Zetian here in her pilot uniform. We've got some fantastic kind of like design artwork kind of going down her spine, slightly like armor. But it also has that kind of scientific futuristic look as well, in kind of like this unitard type of situation. But we also have all of the kind of the Chinese heritage art sort of within her hair and the way her hair is presented. And then we have these amazing feathers of like a kind of red phoenix kind of encircling her, but they also look slightly mechanical as well. And it just looks freaking awesome. And I don't use the word freaking, so there we go. And then on the side we have got black at the top and bottom. Down the side we have got this amazing phoenix kind of going down in reds, oranges and yellows. And then we have art on the reverse dust jacket. And that art is by Joanne Castro. And here it is. So we have our three main characters here, pictured here, sat in front of the mechanical machine, looking very cool. And there's a bit of a desolated red landscape battlefield behind them. And then on the naked hardback, we have the gold of this mechanical phoenix. And then on the back, similar thing, but there's also like a giant bow as well. And then we have Iron Widow with a yin yang symbol at the top on the spine. Then we have the end pages. So here we have more kind of this, what do they call it? I can't remember the particular terminology, but it's like, it is sort of like humans controlling giant robots to like battle for them. That is kind of the best way I can describe it off the top of my head. So we have kind of like a warrior here, and there's like some sci-fi battle-y machine-y bits behind them. And then on the back, we have this moment here in the story of someone stopping a giant mechanical thing. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to put the book away now. But it's so pretty. It's so pretty, and I'm so pleased because I love the story and I'm so excited to see where we go in the next book. And I'm so pleased to have a beautiful copy of it because I really, really enjoyed it. So that was, yay, happy times. Okay, we now have Heavenly Tyrant, which is a little bit thicker than Iron Widow. And again, we have Zetian. I'm so sorry, Zetian. Yes, Zetian. We have Zetian, again, looking absolutely stunning and badass in the armor, but it's also very kind of like culturally styled as well. We have the armor of kind of like the shoulder pads with kind of bits pointing up and kind of the like diamond chainmail type thing all over, and it just looks awesome. And then this fantastic headdress with beads and antlers, and then rearing up kind of behind we have another like mechanical being. This one is looking a little bit more serpenty snake like. On the sprayed edges we've got lots of yellows and golds, and it's like a coiled serpent. And then over here we have dragon. Dragon, could be dragon. This definitely looks dragon. The coils look serpenty, but we can sometimes have serpentine dragons, so it could be that. And I'm not going to read the back. And there's another character on there, and there we go. And again, we have amazing artwork on the other side of the dust jacket. So we have a battle scene between two humans with mechanical machine-y robots behind them. And that again is by Joanne Castro. I forgot to say the end pages are by Alex V. Engo, and the edge design is also Ashley Mackenzie, who did the cover artwork. So again, Brilliant job, Ashley Mackenzie, with the cover art. Thank you, Michelle Gio Manning, for all of the design. It all looks absolutely gorgeous. And on the naked hardback, we have got, yeah, it's definitely a serpentine dragon. And then we have some buildings underneath the dragon's head. And on the back, we again have the mechanical robot, and we have two figures standing in front of it, two human figures. And we have got this roaring, in action, battling serpentine dragon around some rooftops, looking very fierce. And then on the back, we have got two characters kind of floating in the air, and there's this massive laser gun pointing down at them, and there's a moon behind them. All very intriguing. I don't know what any of it means, but it's all incredibly gorgeous, and I'm very excited to read Iron Widow and then Heavenly Tyrant when it's its moment, when I'm ready to do that. I really, really want to be getting into my fantasy books and reading my fantasy books, even though this is sci-fi. Political epic stories, that's what I mean. Whether it's sci-fi or fantasy, I'm excited to read political epic stories, but it doesn't feel like the right time at the moment because I'm feeling quite stressed out and I need to be kind to myself, and I don't want to be stressed out by my books and stressed out by regular life as well. So we'll see how we go on that. It's a library time, and I'm going to start off with some picture books. I have five books. So this is one I haven't shown you. This is absolutely gorgeous. I am currently reading this. Did start reading, kind of just having it around downstairs, flipping through bits and pieces with my children, but I do want to read it cover to cover. So this is called Brilliant Black British History, and it is by Atinook and Kingsley Nabichi. I don't know if one is author and one is illustrator. Yes, so it's written by Atinook and illustrated by Kingsley Nabichi. So I'm really keen to look at this one, and it is, as it says on the tin, it's a history of Britain, but it's specifically a Black history of Britain. So it goes through the Homo sapiens and the evolution into the first Britons, and kind of goes all the way through to present day and Black Lives Matter. So I think it's a really important book. History is such an area where there's been such a white, male, patriarchal, up the empire kind of feel to it, and it's only in recent years that we're going, hold on, where are the other stories in history? Who have we been ignoring? How do we find them and bring them to the forefront? So this is a good book for starting that, because very, very little Black British history did I learn at school. Tiny. I have a book I already showed you in Picture This. If you want to see my Picture This video, I will put a link here so you can go and look at it. This is one that after I finished that, I wanted to keep because I wanted to go and look through these artists. So this is called A Gallery of Cats. And it is about a boy who goes through a gallery and looks at famous paintings, and a cat comes out of each one. And I think it's so clever how the story narrates a mixture of describing the painting, the art style and the artist, but also make them sound a little bit like an adoptive, like if you want to adopt a cat. So it's also describing the cat at the same time. And it really just tickled my sense of humour, and I appreciated it. This is a book you will be seeing me talking about later on in May, because this is a picture book that I'm going to be reading for the Spoonies Readathon, and it's called Mama Car. It is Own Voices, it is Visible Disability, it is by Lucy Catchpole, and it's been illustrated by Karen George. And this is inspired by Lucy Catchpole's family. And it says, when my first daughter was little, she called my wheelchair the mama car. And so she wrote a story about that, and just showing wonderful positivity of parents who use a wheelchair. I then have a book here called When We Say Black Lives Matter, and this is by Maxine Beneba Clark. And I presume she also did the illustrations as well. Just double checking. Text and illustrations, yeah. So So author and illustrator Maxine Beniba Clark. We have got very strong colours in here, lots of kind of silhouette drawings. We've got lots of blues, strong blues, like that really sort of almost like purpley royal blue. We've got really sort of like dark oranges and reds, really kind of bold colour combinations. And you can see that this has all been painted on canvas, because you can see sort of like the canvas print behind some of the pictures there. And also the writing, I enjoy how it, what's the word? The layout of the writing, how like words can like drip down or be like made bigger, and it kind of adds to the story. So this is another one I'm really looking forward to reading fully to myself and also reading aloud. And the final picture book I have is called Ibrahim's Perfect Eid, and this is by Farhana Islam and Nabila Adani. And this I got at the library for my son because so it's Easter time. They spoke quite a lot about Lent and people giving up different things for Lent, and he got a little bit confused because also Ramadan was happening at the same time, and one of the children in his class was fasting for Ramadan, although his mum said he's just enjoying not having to eat school dinners because he doesn't like them. And my son got a little bit confused calling it Lent, and he got a little bit mixed up. So I said, look, we'll get a book about Eid and we'll kind of talk through a little bit more about the difference between what your friend is doing and kind of give you the language a little bit better. And this just absolutely caught my eye because our protagonist just looks so thrilled and delighted at the celebration of Eid here, hugging his little cat. And I didn't realise this is by the same duo that wrote one of the books that I read for Picture This last year, which is Not Now Nor. Oh, that's so cute. There we go. I knew I loved the illustrations. So those are my picture books. I'll move on to the other library books that I have. So out of the library currently that I haven't mentioned in a haul, I have Outrageous, the story of Section 28 and Britain's battle for LGBT education by Paul Baker. I picked this up because I know very little about Section 28. I was in school whilst it was in place. It made me reflect quite a lot on my education. I think I was in a school, I think I was very much in a bubble. I've mentioned this before, living in my own little bubble and not kind of being aware of certain things. But I was very much a drama kid. I really loved being with the play people, the theatre people. And we had quite a few people that were part of the LGBTQ plus community, and it was never really spoken about as much, but it was very accepted that they are who they are, and it was, from what I could see, not an issue. I don't know if they were bullied outside of the drama group, but I just remember this feeling of just taking everything in their stride. But it was never, it was very much all of us kind of like discovering what it meant to be LGBTQ plus by ourselves. Like, obviously we didn't have that language. I think the only language we had was gay and lesbian and bisexual. That was like the only languages we had amongst ourselves to talk about things. But yeah, point was, I don't know a lot about Section 28, so I wanted to educate myself and wanted to find out more about it. Whilst reading this, there was a lot of stuff going on in the news about, I hate calling it a debate because it's not a debate, but different people's opinion on gender laws. And we have the ruling, the outdated ruling of what a woman is, absolutely needs to be updated. And it just made me just feel so what was happening to, I'm turning it into a wrap up, but it's important, so I'm saying it anyway, about what was happening to people who were same-sex attracted and in same-sex relationships and had same-sex parents within families, how othered they were and how people tried to scapegoat them and how ostracized they were. And we are seeing it again with the trans community, particularly trans women. And this book, I felt, really highlighted that and the importance of protesting, the importance of making your voices heard, the importance of saying this is not acceptable, we do not accept this, and coming together and rallying together to make change and to change laws. It's so important. So this was a very poignant read. I didn't intend it to be so poignant. It was supposed to just be like educating myself and finding out more about it. But that's the purpose of history. Like, we learn from history. Don't always learn the right thing, continue to make the same mistakes again and again, but it's there. The lessons are all there, and we need to take heart from what we can and keep moving forward. Also on that note, another book that I got out for Trans Girl April is Not Just a Tomboy, a trans masculine memoir by Caspar J. Baldwin. This book is so incredibly powerful. If you are looking for a memoir to read, I absolutely highly recommend it. I got this out because I wanted a memoir. I wanted to make sure I had a mixture of voices that were trans women, trans men, non-binary. I wanted to make sure I had a mixture sort of within Trans Girl April, and I didn't, and I was missing a trans masc voice. So I was looking in my library and this one came up, and I was like, I clocked that one before and thought it was really interesting, so I will go with this one. I'm so pleased I picked this up. It's really open, it's really raw. There was also so much, like, because I am of the same age as Caspar, there was so much where I was like, oh my goodness, that's my childhood, and just like there was such a lovely nostalgia connection as well. But obviously our experiences differed so much because I went through puberty that was not upsetting to me because it's a puberty that aligned with my gender, whereas Caspar went through it, had a completely different experience. And the absolute turmoil that he goes through and how he manages to keep on going is just so incredible. And it just made me so angry about people giving opinions on trans lives when they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about, and they are making decisions that don't affect them but affect the whole of the trans community. And I will go through that in more detail when I actually do my review of these books. But again, brilliant book I got out of the library. Highly recommend. Gender Pioneers. You may recognise this one as I used it to select books from. So this was also my plan to be reading through this in stages. Didn't quite happen how I was hoping because life is chaos. So I'd have moments where I could read maybe like 5 or 10 in one sitting, and then moments when I just wasn't able to pick it up. So I'm still working through it because I don't want to rush it, and I kind of want to take in each of these stories. So this is a book by Philippa Punchard, and it's called Gender Pioneers, a celebration of transgender, non-binary and intersex icons. So this is looking at people like throughout history. So here we've got Roberta Cowell, we have got Lawrence Michael Dillon. Off the top of my head, don't know who they are because I've only just picked up this. I haven't got as far as them. Egobus Marcus Aurelius Antonius Augustus. That is going to be tricky to say in a tongue twister. Biawachichishi, a woman chief, aka the Pine Leaf. So all of these different people, there is an illustration by Philippa Punchard done in a slightly different art style, and information sort of giving like a little biography about these people throughout history. You know, it's not new. We keep thinking it's a new fad. It's not a new fad. It's been around for years. These are people. These are people. They exist. This is their norm. Please deal with it. I now have a middle grade book. This is book number 5 in the Adventures on Train series. It is Sabotage on the Solar Express, and it is by M.G. Leonard and Sam Sedgman, and illustrated by Alicia Pancanelli. So we find ourselves back on another adventure with our lovely duo, Uncle Nat, and our protagonist Hal with his sketchbook. And they solve mysteries on trains. All the mysteries are different. We've had murder, kidnapping, theft, and this one is a sabotage. I also have the audiobook out for this one because I do enjoy the audiobooks with these ones, but the pictures in here are lovely. We get lovely illustrations. And what was really fantastic is when I went to a little bookshop and they had done a little workshop with the authors, and they said that Elisa Panganelli, the illustrator, spoke to them, and the plan is that she has been making her drawings more and more sophisticated, just hinting at Hal's growing talent. So he's progressing with his drawing, and so she's making the illustrations kind of match that, which I just think is really cool. And then 2 books that I have yet to show on the camera. So one of these is for the SPOONIES Readathon, and another of these is a book I got out to help me tackle my series. So this is the buddy read for the SPOONIES Readathon that I am doing with Emily from Novel Novels, Danny from Danny's Book World, and Kat from Brews and Reviews. It is called Sing If You Can't Dance by Alexia Casale. And this is about a girl who's exploring a change in her future due to something in hospital. She's got a medical condition and she needs to kind of change her plans, and that's all I'm exploring and looking at in here. I can't wait to start reading this. It's going to be a lot of fun. Cage of Dreams is my final book from the library. This is by Rebecca Schaffer. It is the second book in the duology. Is it called City of Nightmares duology? It might be. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, Cage of Dreams, sorry, Beware the Cage of Dreams is the follow-up to City of Nightmares. I really enjoyed the City of Nightmares. I got it in a fairy loot back when I was getting fairy loot, and I enjoyed it. I wasn't sure. I'd spent quite a lot of money, so I didn't splash out on the second book, Cage of Dreams. That is possibly one I regret. I may regret that because the covers are beautiful. It did have a little dinosaur in the spine and everything, and on this cover you can see it's in gold and purple, and we have a pterodactyl and a T-Rex kind of on the front. This has kind of been compared to Gotham, and it's got a really interesting plot to do with nightmares and dreams, and there's kind of like a politics and kind of like capitalism being explored as we left the last book. So I'm very keen to see how it all wraps up and where it goes in this one. Not sure when it's going to fit into the reading plans, but it's there. Should I feel the urge for a YA fantasy? Should I be feeling what I want to knock off any of my brain series? Then I have that opportunity. The final book I'm going to share for you is a book I have borrowed. It came back with me from Lincoln, and it is Green Wild, The City Beyond the Sea by Parry Thomas. Also, this front cover and the book is illustrated by Alicia Panganelli, who does the Adventures on Trains illustrations as well. So that is very, very cool. This was also one of the books for the Middle Grade Readers' Choice Awards. Didn't make it into the top 5 though. But the cover is absolutely gorgeous. We have Green Wild across the top in gold. In the centre, we have got this watery horse. We have got Daisy, our protagonist, and another boy with black hair and a strawberry birthmark on his face, standing in kind of like fighting stances. And we have Napoleon, the little black cat at the bottom of Daisy's legs. We're surrounded by all sorts of amazing like coral and plant life, sort of marine plant life. So we have got those purpley, orangey, pinky colours mixed with some bright sort of teal and sea greens around there. On the spine, we've got this underwater blue. And on the back, we've got this lovely kind of like little, I don't know what it's called, like a salmon-y angelfish. It's got 2 sets of wings. I can't remember what it was. And on the back, it says in gold, the story goes that there was once a whole league of ocean kingdoms whose magic harnessed the power of the sea. And then we've got lots of kind of underwater buildings here that they give me sort of like the... They look a little bit like of the design of the pavilion in Brighton, which was inspired by more of the buildings that you get in sort of like the Middle East area. But also similar to the ones in St. Petersburg in Russia. They're sort of like ice cream dome kind of turrets, that kind of thing. Anyway, very, very pretty. It also has sprayed edges. So this copy, we and my children actually bought for my mum, because she has also got the other book that we also bought for her, and she's enjoying reading those. So yes, I am borrowing her very, very pretty copy, and I need to make sure I look after it. But it's got beautiful bubbles down the spine, and then on the under the dust jacket, on the spine of the naked hardback, we have that sort of salmon-y double-winged angelfish. I don't know what it is. It looks a mixture between like some sort of urchin and shell. Then we have a starfish, a seashell in that kind of fan position, and then our lovely Napoleon cat there. And then we have lots of sea creatures and the water horse, and it says signed by the author. And there we go. We've got a very neat Parry Thomas signature there. But of course, the best part is the end pages at the back, where we have this beautiful map of the lost pocket of Ifenwild. We have canals, we have a barrier coral reef, we have lots of buildings with sort of domed greenhouse glass bits on them. We've got lots of ships, we've got places like the Fishers Guild, the Nautilus Fleet Mooring Place, all sorts of different lovely bits in there. So it's very, very pretty. It's very, very pretty. So I will have to make sure I take good care of it and don't ruin it. I'll try really hard, Natter, I promise. And there we go. Just sneaking in under the hour there. But those are all the books that I currently have at my disposal to read that I haven't yet introduced to you. And now I have. So there we go. I am just going to give you a little stat thing. So we might go over the hour. I don't know. So there are, ignoring the library books, of the books that I now own, the new ones that have come out from under my bed or I've just acquired and bought in, there were 15 books that I'm now adding to my shelves, but I have already read 7 of them, so that's almost 50%, so that's very good. It's 46.6% for those interested. So I am adding 8 books to my shelves. 4 of them are already part of my physical TBR when I counted it up, so I'd already included them in the total number of books on my physical TBR. 2 of them are Shelterbox books. So I knew I would be getting more Shelterboxes in, so that's fine. And 2 of them were an intended treat for myself, which was the Iron Widow duology. So that's actually not too bad. That works out quite well. I'm quite chuffed with that. I'm quite happy with that. I don't feel I've done too badly with keeping the numbers low. We'll see what happens when I look at my summer book haul. It could be a different story, because as you can see, I've maxed out a lot on library books, so then my ability to read the books already on my shelves is going to dip down quite a lot. Anyway, cheers everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know any of your thoughts and feelings on the books I have mentioned. Are there any you're particularly excited about that you think I will really enjoy? Are there any that you have enjoyed? Are there any that you really haven't enjoyed and you need to tell me about it? I still enjoy difference of opinions. I'd love a chat, so please get chatty in the comments. And if you don't have anything to say but you would like to let me know you are here, then I would like you to give me some sort of sea emoji. So it could be a wave, could be a starfish or a fish for the green wild city beyond the sea. Cheers everyone, happy reading!